77:6b states, I commune with mine own heart, and my spirit made diligent search. First of all, we see the communion Asaph had with his own heart. The word translated commune has the idea of meditating or thinking upon. Heart, of course, refers to the inner person. It is the seat of thought and emotion. Deuteronomy 6:5 uses this word when it says, And thou shalt love the Lord thy God with all thine heart, and with all thy soul, and with all thy might. Part of loving God with all our heart can include weighing our inmost self by musing on our relationship with God. We see this in the second part of the verse. As a young girl, I remember the day my mom's wedding band went missing. She didn't want to get her lovely ring dirty or encrusted with dough, so she took the ring off while making bread dough. She worked, letting the dough rise, forming rolls in bread, placing the dough in pans, and then having the savory smell ascend from the oven. Sometime later, she realized her ring was nowhere to be found. Searching piles of trash and other odd places, my mother looked and looked, but the wedding ring was gone. In fact, that day was the last time she saw her ring. That incident caused me to decide early after my engagement that I would not take my ring off. Some people take off their rings while doing a messy project, but mine would stay on. I didn't want the unfortunate occurrence my mom had repeat itself with me. About 10 years after I first began to wear my ring, I noticed it would occasionally work its way up to the tip of my finger on cold days when I was busy. I would be playing the piano with cold fingers and my ring would come almost completely off, sometimes managing to work its way off. I'd put it back on and continue whatever I was doing. One evening in December, as my husband and I packaged boxes and hurried them off to the post office, I looked down only to discover that my diamond ring was missing. Where could it be? I called the post office. The worker there assisted in our search as my husband reopened boxes we had just packaged, tearing their seams to see if the ring was somehow there. It wasn't. Everything seemed to stop. I walked about in a daze. Where could the ring be? I must find it. Retracing my steps back up to the third-story attic, where we had been wrapping the boxes, I picked up items from the boxes one at a time. After looking through 4 different boxes, glint caught my eye. Sure enough, there, at the bottom of the 5th cardboard box, my ring gleamed. The next day, I wasted no time taking the ring to the jeweler's and getting it resized. In the meantime, I purchased a fake diamond ring at Walmart until the jeweler had finished his task. When we search for something precious to us, we search diligently until, hopefully, we find it. This is the kind of diligent search depicted in Psalm 77:6b. Psalm 77:6b states, I commune with mine own heart, and my spirit made diligent search. In the last part of this verse, Asaph tells us he made a diligent search of his inner man. His spirit examined his thoughts. As he had calculated and weighed the dealings of God in the past, as he had counted up the times God had given him his song in the night, now he calculates, searches, looks into his own heart, no doubt examining himself in light of the truth he knew and sought to live by. Part of seeking God is inward examination so that each thought and each motive is beneath his control, as the song Take Time to Be Holy indicates. In Psalm 139:23 and 24, we see how David prays, Search me, O God, and know my heart. Try me and know my thoughts, and see if there be any wicked way in me, and lead me in the way everlasting. When life is hard and painful, we are reminded of our heart's own wickedness, and it is a good time to ask God to search us, to try us. Lamentations 3:40 commands, Let us search and try our ways, and turn again to the Lord. Job's friends wrongly assumed that the reason he was encountering difficulty was that God was punishing him for something wrong he had done. Actions have consequences. Sometimes the inward ache of our own heart is caused by an unconfessed sin, a wicked way within us, which needs exposure. Certainly, as Job's case indicates, that is not always the case. But it is right, in our moments of sadness and inward grief, to examine ourselves, to try our ways, to be sure God occupies first place in our hearts and lives. The New Testament counterpart of this notion is found in 1 Corinthians 11, 28 through 32. Before taking the Lord's table, we are to examine ourselves so that we do not drink or eat unworthily. Internal examination is certainly part of a healthy Christian life. And if God chooses to give us sleepless nights or painful days in order that we might do so, that is what He has the prerogative as the sovereign to do. Regardless of Asaph's regular practice, which may have included self-examination, at this moment Asaph takes this time of darkness to ask himself hard questions about his own heart, to see if his own heart is what it ought to be, if he truly is right with God. As a diligent search would be made for a priceless object, such as a wedding or engagement ring, Asaph values the eternal things of his soul to the extent that he makes diligent search to examine his own heart's motivations. He holds them up to the light of God's truth. In our dark moments, may we do the same. And may we make this a regular practice of our lives, to examine, to ponder, to muse upon the way in which our heart's responses intersect with eternal truth. That verse again, Psalm 77, 6b, I commune with mine own heart, and my spirit made diligent search.